So I'll be speaking on land documentation, the backbone of Africa's real estate boom, which will be subtitled Unlocking Secure Investment and Sustainable Growth Across the Continent. Okay, so one of the major problems we have in the Nigerian real estate sector is the land documentation. You cannot actually sell if your land documentation is wrong. If it's faulty, if it's invalid, it will be difficult for you to sell. What gives authenticity to any property you are selling, whether a developed or an empty land, is the documentation on ground. In fact, some people contacted me yesterday. They want to sell a property and they brought it to me for me because they needed the money urgently and they wanted me to use my influence to sell it. So I requested that they give me the land document. Unfortunately, they were unable to present it. These are the children of the deceased, that the owner is already dead. Their father is late. And they needed money to sort a family issue urgently. So they needed to discard this property. But the problem is the documentation. Because they are the children of the deceased, I gave them two options according to the law. It's either they provide their father's will or they provide what we call the letter of administration. So the will will either name 2 or 3 persons to show that this property belongs to them, or the letter of administration they will get from the court is going to appoint 2 or 3 of the siblings to say that these are the people that have the right or the authority as beneficial owners to be able to transact on the property. So we see that oftentimes we see that a lot of people try to put our property out there, but the documentations are false. Let me tell you this. As your blood is important to your body, that's how documentation is to your business. You cannot sell effectively any property if your documentation is false, is invalid. And remember the theme of today, we are looking at the real estate rising against into Africa's promising future. If for us to have it right in Nigeria, then our land documentation must be expressly documented. You can't just sell anything if you don't have the document to back it up. A lot of people have lost transactions. A lot of developers have lost money because they thought they were investing in a property that has a good title. And there is a recent case in Kenya. It was the case of, it was delivered in 2023. The Supreme Court of Kenya still affirmed their decision this 2025. If the root of title of any property is faulty, if you are buying from it, whether as an innocent purchaser, whatever you are buying is also invalid. So it's very, very important that you conduct a search to the root of title to know who are the people that are selling to you. Why do you need to conduct the search? You need to find out whether the person that is selling to you is selling as a beneficial owner. And what right in law do they have? Because when you want to register, what land registry will consider is the connection between the last person on ground, on record, and the person that is currently selling. Like the story I gave you, if you are buying from a family and the parents of the children are dead, you must either the family must either provide a will or a letter of administration for them to be able to convey a valid title to you. There are some times you want to buy a property and the property you are buying has a court judgment on it. If there is a court judgment on that property, it means that every other title that came before that court judgment was given is nullified by that judgment. So at that instant, that judgment must be registered in the registry. And when it is registered, you can now proceed whether you want to apply for a new CFO so that the title will start running afresh. So if you are buying a property, you must get your documentation right. You must ask the necessary question, which registry do I need to go to for me to be able to register an effective title of the property that I bought. So when we talk about the land documentation, they are the legal instrument, the document that conveys title to you. When we look at the name, we will know that you are the owner. You don't just buy a property and then somebody will just throw hand over a portion of land and say, oh, this is the property we are selling to you, they must have something to back it up. And I want to draw this analogy. If you are employing somebody in your company and the person tells you, oh, I made a 2-1 from the University of so and so, for you to establish that that person actually made that 2-1 or a first class and finished from that university that they claim, they will present to you their certificate. That certificate is what guarantees what they are saying. If you are selling a property and you want to claim that you are the owner of this property, we want to see your documentation. We want to see the legal standing. We want to see the validity. What gives you the right to transact over that property? And I give you briefly about the Nigerian legal system. The primary law that is regulating our real estate transaction here in Nigeria is called the Land Use Act of 1978, which gives all the property in each state, puts it in the hand of a governor. So the governor is more like a landlord. Anybody that is buying is like a tenant. So the government gives everybody that is buying this property for a period of 99 years. And that is what we call the certificate of occupancy for 99 years. After that, section 22 says that every subsequent transaction must be done with the consent of the governor. So that's where you have different instruments like the deed of assignment here in Lagos. In the eastern part, we have the power of attorney. We have in the state, we have the deed of conveyance. We have different instruments that can be used to convey this title, and it must be registered. Until it is registered, the governor has not given the consent, which means that according to the law, you are breaching the provisions of the sections. So it's important that whenever you are buying a property, you ensure that it is registered. Now, commonly here in Lagos, we have what we call the Anomneze, the original family owners. Most of their properties does not have any title. So what you need to do is that when they give you the family receipt, with that family receipt, you proceed to register the certificate of occupancy. There's some part of Lekki if you are buying, what the government will give you is what we call the deed grant. The deed grant is what is given to families who have been in occupation of the communal land before the passing into law of 1978 Act, our Land Use Act. So this deed grant is what they now use for them to be able to transact to you. Then we have another title that we call the survey plan. The survey plan establishes the boundary that you are buying. If somebody says the land I'm giving to you is 500 square meters, then the surveyors will pick the coordinates of that land to ensure that exact thing that you're getting is 500 square meters. Why do you need to have a surveyor in your real estate transaction? They will help you to pick the coordinates and establish that indeed what you are getting is what is as it stated on the land. Most time people make the mistake of maybe you are giving a survey plan and they will tell you, oh, this survey plan covers the entire place. It is important you have your own independent surveyor who will go to the land to pick the coordinates and take it to where we call the Surveyor General's office. And then it is at that place they will start it. And why do you need to start it? To ensure that the land is not a government committed land. So the Surveyor General's office will tell us where properties are under government acquisition. And if the government intends to use it 10 years, 20 years. So sometimes you see some large expanse of land that have not been used. And there's somebody selling it to you. Meanwhile, in the next 20 years, the government has kept that place either for airport or something. So you see why you need to search at Surveyor General's office. And then we have what we call the Corporate Affairs Commission when a company is selling to you. Sometimes you see that some of these companies, they use what we call the debenture. They register the debenture on the property. So you want to ensure that there is no debenture registered on it. I don't know how many of us are aware of the Asset Management Nigeria. It's another place where you search. In 2008, a lot of big organizations and companies borrowed money from the banks and they were not able to pay. And because of that, their loan book were sold to Asset Management Nigeria, AMCOM. And then AMCOM, the law establishing them, says they take over the assets and all liabilities. So they took over the assets of these companies and began to sell. They were selling it in order to recover the loan. So if you are buying from one of these companies, it's important that you go to the legal department of Asset Management Nigeria to ensure that these people have not borrowed money and they've been able to pay off their debt. If they've not been able to clarify themselves and that case has not been closed, you are probably buying a property litigation. And now for those in Lagos, if you are a real estate developer in Lagos, you are buying a property in mainland. It is important that you get a lawyer that will search at Ikeja, where we have the Ikeja division covers mainland. If the property is an island, you need to go to Igbo, which covers the island section. Now, this is where the problem is. There are some information you will not see, because when we had the, I don't remember how many people that remember NSAS protest. When the NSAS protest happened, most of these courts, this thing were brought down at Igbo. So all the records up until 2025 can no longer be found. So even if you are making a search that falls on that, you will not be able to find anything. So I just wanted to say that, so that, because it's also one of the major problems we are having in Nigeria because of data. So you might not be able to find anything. Another places where people don't even know you search is the EFCC. You will see that sometimes when EFCC arrests people because they have looted some funds, all the properties that are connected with that funds will come under the custody of EFCC. So you need to check from the legal department whether the property that you are buying is under EFCC custody, because sometimes you will notice that they will not write anything on it, but in their office it belongs to them. If they are sitting online, they are trying to recover funds, and of course that